welcome to the podcast. I'm Carol.
Alicia.
And I'm Trisha.
And we're so glad that you're here today.
Yep.
We're going to be talking about enjoying today. And as many days as my coworkers will probably support me in this, I have just given them something to giggle about all day long.
Yep.
Yes.
You're good for that.
I'm the biggest
We
idiot
love
that ever
Carol.
lived.
No,
Carol,
not true.
No, it's just we
But
can
she
see
is
ourselves
funny.
in you.
Okay, so I have to tell you what I did. So last night, my daughter was on a field trip, and so I was by myself. I'm never by myself. I mean,
know.
she's
As moms,
always
we're
with me.
not alone.
Yeah, never alone. So she was overnight. So my best friend texted me and said, "Hey, you want to come over for dinner? You want to come over and hang out?" And I'd already had my shower, and I was just like, "I just really want to go to bed." And I can say that to her, and she's okay with that. And so she said, "Well, we don't care if you're in your PJs. Come on anyway." And so I went to text back, and I didn't have my glasses on, and I text, "I really don't want to put my bra back on." But instead of sending it to my best friend, I sent it to my boss. Wait. I sent it to my boss. I do not want to put my bra back
This is a
on.
man boss. This is, and we're all cringing because we're thinking about doing it. We're like, oh no.
And we've
that
all
would
had
be
that
just about
moment, but I don't think quite like that.
You're welcome.
That's up there, Carol.
I am so serious. Nobody does stuff like that but me. Nobody.
No, we all do, but yours are funnier.
Yes.
In this case, it's much funnier that it happened to you.
So I spent the next, dozen or so text messages
I know.
trying
How
to
did you
explain
get
it wasn't
digging
meant for
out?
you, and I didn't have my glasses on.
How
and
did he handle it? Did he let you off the hook?
oh yeah, he was cool. I mean, he's
Okay.
just kind of like, ha. I mean, what are you gonna say?
What are you going to say?
You're like, whoa, what is this?
Telling you the truth. Autocorrect and texting the
yes.
wrong person has just about ended my life.
I have taken autocorrect off my phone because it's
You can
just-
take it off?
You can set. There's a setting where you can change, and
you
so
know
it doesn't do
I
autocorrect.
did not know that.
Because there's too many really embarrassing opportunities.
Well, I text this friend and said, I can't wait to see you in person because we keep in touch. We talk a lot on the phone, but we don't see each other in person hardly ever. And it'd been like 3 years since I'd seen her. And the text message said, I can't wait to see you in Persia.
Taking
Well,
a
that's
trip,
a little
are
bit
ya?
better than the bra.
Well, this might make you feel
Thanks for
better.
making me feel so much better, Alicia.
My
Thank you.
friend Kathleen, she works in a big city, and she was trying to text her boss. I'll never forget this. This has been years ago. She was trying to text her boss that she was running late and she was stuck in a cab on the way to this meeting. So she wrote, "Running late, stuck in can." As in the can. And that went to her boss, so that makes you feel a little
yeah,
bit
that's
better.
pretty good.
No, it's still not as bad as bra.
not
Not
great,
as
but-
bad, but it's close.
Yeah. So how do you enjoy today without losing your mind? I would propose that maybe you would enjoy your day more if you have lost your mind because I
It's true.
tend to enjoy every day.
You laugh at yourself, which is
Yes.
good. Now,
That
that
is.
is a great way to enjoy your day because we're always going to goof up. We're always, maybe not quite to that level, Carol, but we're always going to
I
do
thought
something
we were supposed to
ridiculous.
make each other feel better
Okay.
on this.
Okay, but you laugh at yourself.
Yeah, I
and
do.
that is a key to getting through the day. I mean, truly, that's a gift to be
That's
able
why I
to
like
do
coming
that.
to work every day. Some days I'll be in a bad mood or had a bad morning, and I come into work and somebody is laughing or having a
Yeah.
good time, and it just changes your attitude.
Yes.
It just reminded me, I was doing a little research for my show about Francesca Battistelli. You know that song, Free to Be Me? Got
Yeah.
a couple dents in my fender.
Got
That
a couple
one.
rips in my jeans.
Yeah, that
Yep.
one. You know, the story behind that song is that she backed into a lawyer's car.
Oh.
Like, I mean, you won't want to back into a lawyer's car.
Of all the things.
Exactly. And she said, I was on my way home and I was actually trying to make myself feel better. So I was singing to myself.
Oh, that's cute.
Isn't that cute? That is
Yeah.
exactly what she was doing. And so it's,
Good things can come out of
Bad
embarrassing
situations.
bad moments.
yes. And I think one of the keys is being able to laugh at yourself.
Yeah.
But, this has been a common theme in a couple of podcasts that we've done is that living from a place where you feel loved.
Yes.
I mean, I just, maybe I'm wrong, but the ability to laugh at myself comes when I don't feel all that insecurity of like, what are people going to think of me?
Yes.
Even though I can't tell you that I'm still embarrassed to walk by my boss in the hallway.
I know.
I hope he doesn't say anything.
I know, me too.
But you're
Oh,
right.
he could make a joke.
You're right, though, Carol. Like, when you have the confidence that you are loved just the way you are, as funny and silly and goofy as we are still loved by a Father who created us and takes us just the way we are, then you can laugh at things, because then it doesn't wound you. It just tickles you.
Yeah.
Well, and I think one of the things that my husband and I talked about recently is moments, focusing on moments, because we've had some challenges at home with the kids, and it makes you feel bad if you, like, you know, we talked in another podcast about yelling at our kids and how it makes you feel terrible. And then the whole day could be ruined because of that if you focus on that. And so one day at dinner, my husband and I were talking, and I said, you know what? I know there was a bad moment earlier, but that wasn't our whole day. We actually had so many other good things happen today. Let's focus on those things.
That's so wise.
And it changed our total attitude. We had a great evening. And so we're trying to focus on, if you have a bad moment in the day, if something bad happens, you text your boss the wrong thing. That was a moment, but that wasn't
That
your
keeps
whole
coming
day.
up.
I noticed that.
But how many other great things happened?
Yeah.
You know,
I don't know. I can't remember. I think that's sometimes useful when you live in a community. You know, like for me, I'm as a single parent. Sometimes I don't have the benefit of having a spouse that I can go to and say, help me remember those good things that happened today. But that's when I'm so thankful for a work community and a small group community in my church, that people can come alongside you and say, hey, you remember this great thing that you did, or you did a great break on the radio, or remember how people responded to this or that. That charges my batteries too, and I need that.
And we need to remember to do that for other people. I think we need that ourselves. We need to fill our bucket with those things and remember them, but we need to remember to say something to someone else and encourage them if we see something. And I think we forget that a lot.
We forget that a lot. And we forget to do it to ourselves. We need to
practice.
practice.
You're not going to go there, aren't you?
I am, because it's something I'm working on. Practicing telling yourself some of the things that you would tell your friend, your coworker, your sister, your buddy. You know, we are so much. I will say, so much kinder to other people than I am to myself.
So what does that look like? How do you do that?
Well, I think you reflect back on the good stuff, and you take a moment and really, thank God for those moments, and really experience those moments. And if someone does encourage you, or if something strikes a good memory, let's say you see a picture of something that reminds you of something good that happened, go ahead and live in that moment for a second. Go ahead and accept it. We have something on the morning show. We laugh if somebody says something encouraging to us. We say, let's rub that in like lotion.
Oh, that's great.
Isn't that a good image?
I love that.
Take a second and rub in whatever that experience
I love
is.
that.
Yeah.
One of the things I do is I keep a gratitude journal.
Oh, yeah.
I don't do
Nice.
it enough. I think that's the lesson here for me listening to you, is that, and even there have been some days that have been really, really hard or challenging, and I'm down and I'm like, I don't feel like filling that out. Those are the best days to fill it out. Because if I write down 5 things that I'm grateful for, something that I did or someone said to me, and then what I have been doing also is looking back at some of the previous entries, and it's just a great reminder and something to make you kind of lift you up and make you feel good.
That'll strengthen your faith, too.
I think, for me, this is just for me, but I get in trouble when I get inside my own head. I tend to be a creative personality, so I can make things 10 times worse in my head than they actually are. But I think one of the things that's helped me is I've started when I start that whole negative self-talk thing.
Oh, yeah.
I've had to stop and say, would you say this to Trisha? Would you say that to Alicia?
That's great.
Would you say that to, your friend? Would you say that to somebody in your small group at church? Would you? And that kind of, jolts me into, I'd never say that to
The answer
anybody.
is no.
Yeah.
Absolutely
And if
Every
you wouldn't
time.
say it to them, then don't say it to yourself. Are there places you can improve? Are there corrective things you can do? Absolutely. But one of the most important things is to say, stop yourself. But that's my problem. I can't stop myself because I'm like, I text that. I'm an idiot.
Yeah. Well,
Not
then
only
it goes,
am I an idiot, and then I go downhill from there.
Yeah.
and I think it loops around in your head, and you can't stop that loop. It's like you'll try to distract, and then it comes back, and that's all you focus on. And for me, sometimes I have to try to figure out how to just eliminate that thought completely so that I don't focus on it too much.
I have learned that I cannot stop a train of thought. I can replace my thoughts with a different thought.
That's good.
Instead of trying to backtrack or pull myself up in some way, I replace it with something that I know to be true. And again, we talked about this in and it's so true, that God loves us. And that if you feel like nobody loves me, I'm messing up so bad that I'm just a total disaster. No, that's not true. Here's something to replace that thought with. No, God loves me, and He's with me, and He cares about me. Or replace it with a different thought. But you can't extract sometimes as easy as you can replace with something else.
One of the things that helped me to do that, I think it was a Beth Moore Bible study, but I'm not sure. They taught you to take a piece of paper and fold it in half. And so you have two columns, okay? On one side, write down everything you know to be true about your problem, how you're feeling, all the situations, all the nastiness on one side. And then on the other side, to write everything that you know to be true about God. And I'm a writer. I have to think, when I process it out on paper, it does something in my brain and it gets in there.
Yeah.
But when I have to write down the promises of God that counteract the things that I'm thinking and feeling, that's the place where I can replace that.
Yes.
And really, I call it telling myself the truth. Because if you came to me and said, here, I'm struggling with this situation or this problem, my response would be the correct response and what God's word says and all those things. But I can't tell myself that. So if I have an exercise that I can go through, that sometimes helps me process through the truth that I need to be internalizing in my own struggle.
I think
love that.
Writing down things like that, like writing down all your negative thoughts, is therapeutic in a way where that's a way. That's another way I kind of get it out of my system. So my journal, my regular journal, is much bigger than my gratitude journal, which it should be the opposite way. But it's just a way that I kind of process that in the morning. And I love that idea of you get the negative thoughts down, but then put all the positive thoughts that you know are true from God, or would be a great way to focus on that. Yeah.
Another thing that I find, I don't know if you guys think this is a struggle too, but mine is slowing down. You were talking about living moments. And sometimes I think, and I don't want to scream that, cell phones are the devil and all that. I'm not on a witch hunt about cell phones. But I do think that technology replaces those times where we can reflect and think and not play Candy Crush. When you're sitting waiting on your kid at, dance practice for us, I'm sitting in the car. What do? I turn to I look on Facebook. I do all those things, but I don't allow myself any breathing room in my schedule. And I think that's why I don't enjoy things as much, because I don't have time to reflect. I don't have time to correct those thoughts. I don't have time. Let me say, I don't have time. I don't make time.
Right.
I choose
that's
something
key.
else. And I think it's playing out in our society now that we're starving to death to belong to something. And the social networking seems to be filling that, at least on the surface, but it's not social at all. So we just need more and more and more and more and more and more.
Yes.
And we're just starving to death for true time and interaction. And that interaction with God too.
Wow. And the image and the analogy that you're using of starving is really powerful. I used to work in the weight maintenance field, and we always talked about don't rush through your food. Don't be distracted when you're eating, because you're going to eat too much. You don't taste the food. If you're watching TV and you're eating chips, what happens? Next thing you know, what happened to that bag of chips?
It's mindless, and you don't even know that you did it.
Yeah. Or if you're exactly right. So you got to slow down. But boy, that is so true in life as well. You're not going to taste the moments unless you stop and you live in the moment. Take a breath and be present in that moment. It just makes so much sense. That's a new way of thinking about it.
Yeah, absolutely. We went on a hike on our spring break just to a local park here, and we were hiking up into the woods, and we were with a friend and her daughter, and she stopped and went, "Oh, I got to have a picture of this." And I was like, what is she taking a picture of? I was looking around. I was walking so fast on the trail. I had walked by this beautiful patch of flowers, and she had stopped to take the picture. And God kind of stopped me in my tracks there and went, "You are rushing through life and missing some of the gifts I give you along the way. And would you just stop and take a breath?" And that was
I'm taking a breath right now.
Yeah, that was a big day for me, because I realized that I was living life at a pace that was not honoring to God. I think we replace productivity. We think we're productive if we're busier, but that's not necessarily the case. We just clutter up our lives more.
Well, and I think there's kind of like a, it's almost like you have a trophy if you're busy.
Yeah.
Especially as a mom. It's like,
Look how
well,
much
I'm
I got
busy.
done.
I'm
Yeah.
busier than you, Trisha. You don't have as much going on as I do.
Yeah.
And I don't like how that has gotten to society. That and we are so busy. We just there's sporting events and school events and like
Travel ball and
yes, it's
Yeah.
endless. It's endless, and we're trying to pack so much in, and we don't want our kids to miss out on things, and we don't want our family to not have this experience and. How do we stop that? And if you don't do as much, then you get asked, well, oh, isn't your child doing a sport right now? Well,
Yeah.
You mean you don't play an instrument?
Well, I tell you, girls, and if you haven't read this, I would highly recommend it. Bonnie Gray wrote a book a couple of years ago called Finding Spiritual White Space. And it talks about her journey and it talks about art. When you look at art, the white space is sometimes more
Yes.
valuable. It brings more attention and it glorifies whatever the piece of art is. And we live our lives like a, clearance sale. Everything straight to the margins, there's no white
yeah.
space at all. And so because of that, I got this huge canvas and I hung it on my wall and it's blank. Drives my parents crazy. They come over and they're like, we got a picture that you can hang there. But for me, it's a reminder of that white space and how valuable it is. It helps us to recognize the true gifts in our life when we make room and we appreciate that white space. I think that's so important.
Okay, that's our goal today.
Yeah.
yes.
More white space.
More
Love
white
it.
space.
All right. Be kind to yourself.
Yes.
Tell yourself the truth and slow down.
Mm-hmm.
Make some room for white space. Hope you'll do that today. Hey, communicate with us if you enjoyed this podcast. Carol at 1069thelight.org. We love you. Hope you have a great day today. Thanks for listening.